What if I told you some of the most impactful ways and powerful ways that we can improve our physical self-care are also the simplest? In today's video, we're going to be looking at 5 different practices or tips or tools that you can use every day that will have a great benefit to your physical health. They might surprise you. Some of them are unexpected, and I'm looking forward to exploring those with you. Hi, I'm Patricia, and welcome to A Balanced Life. Hi, and welcome to A Balanced Life. If you're new here, I'm Patricia, and in this video series on our channel, we are exploring all the ways that we can bring self-care into our lives as we age in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even into our hundreds. I mean, at this point, longevity is definitely in our future, especially if we're looking after ourselves. And we talk a lot about our physical health, our mental health, and our emotional health, sometimes individually and sometimes interwoven, about how they can affect our happiness, our contentment, and our sense of purpose as we're aging. But self-care, which thankfully is becoming more normal to talk about, self-care really is very individual, and it begins and ends with each of us as individuals. What I need may not necessarily be what you need, and vice versa. But what I'm hoping is that by having this channel and creating this conversation and community together, we can share some tips and tools, some ideas, and maybe spark a conversation around how we can age with grace. We can thrive in this next chapter of our lives. And we can, do what we can every day to make sure that we're living optimal lives. We've won the lottery by making it this far. So now let's look to the future with some hope and some positive encouragement and really some hard facts around some research-based, evidence-based practices that are going to help us thrive and survive. But today we are focusing on our physical health. And why is it that our physical health is so important? Well, I think that, there's the obvious. We want to have mobility. We want to have some independence. We want to have some freedom, right? We want to be able to move freely in our day and to do the things that give us joy. The challenge is that as we age, we tend to become more sedentary. If you've had a hard life of working, you've had maybe some physical labor in your life, then nothing feels better than, finally having a little bit of time if you're retired to sit and relax, to, enjoy some extra time on the couch, catch up on those TV shows and those movies that you've missed. And that is wonderful, and you should do that, and you deserve that. If, like me, you're still working and you're, maybe you're in a desk job, or maybe you are up on your feet and you're having, you're in customer service. Well, both of those things still take their toll. And being busy is really not the same as having a physical self-care practice. So those are the things we're going to look at. We're going to think about ways that, how we approach our physical health can have benefits to us mentally and emotionally as well, and maybe help alleviate some physical challenges that we might be facing, or help us prevent some in the future. We know that as we age, so mobility is an issue, as we've said, but balance is a problem. I'm not sure what it is about our balance, but balance does take a hit as we age. And we can have some disorienting spells, let's say, that maybe when we stand too quickly or move too fast, that, we have those dizzy spells. So what can we do to help alleviate and support some balance in our life? But I think it's important to know that we can shift and maybe reverse course on some of these things. Now, nothing beats going to see a medical doctor, and none of this precludes any kind of healthcare, professional wellness that you're already seeking. There are no quick fixes. I think what we have to, keep in mind and be mindful of is that, and this is really, really our first practice, our first unexpected simple practice is that for our physical health, especially, we just begin where we are. Now, this is about being realistic. I have never run a marathon, so I'm not about to train to run a marathon. Now, that might be something that you've always aspired to. And I say, go for it, do what makes you happy. But be mindful that now at this age that we're at, we don't get to just start off running a mile a day if we've never walked a block. Okay, so we have to really pace ourselves, have some grace and some self compassion to about where we are right now. Reflect honestly with yourself about your physical health, your physical limitations, and then begin where you are. Now, some of you may have been involved in some kind of physical activity when you were younger. Maybe you were in a sports team or you took dance class or you were a gymnast. And the longing to go back to those practices is real. It felt good, you loved it at the time, and you'd love to revisit it. And those are wonderful goals. And they're not so far-fetched that you couldn't potentially reach them again. But we start out where we are. Be mindful of your physical limitations and then start with small steps. The joy that we felt when we had those physical practices was real. And our memories around them are real too. And it's wonderful to think about rediscovering those. So start small, find a group that maybe that's doing in a community hall, a dance class or something, or start by walking a block, then two, then six, or jogging a block, then two, then six. But take your time, pace yourself. Check with your healthcare professional before you embark on any kind of big changes physically that you're doing. But most importantly, and this is what makes physical self-care really accessible, is that we just start where we are. We are not in competition with anybody else. What I can do and what I'm interested in doing is different than what the person next to me in my yoga class is interested in doing and what they're focusing on. Their practice is theirs, mine is my own. And I'm doing what's the best benefit for me. So number one was start where you are. Number two is to do something very low impact every single day. Now, low impact can be walking, swimming, cycling. Maybe you're doing a gentle stretch class. Maybe you're working in your garden, but low impact every single day. Now, the key here is that it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. If you're like me, you're going to get bored pretty quickly of having to do the same practice every single day. But I know that every day I need to move. So some days it's yoga, some days it's walking, some days it's both. In the warmer weather, I love to swim. When it's colder, I'm doing my practices indoors. Sometimes I'm going to the gym and using a treadmill or using their walking path. Every day it's a little bit different. And I know for me, if I'm being honest with myself, what I need on the weekend is different than what I need in the week. What I want in the summer is different than I want in the winter. And I have a lot of compassion for myself around that and grace. I just need to make sure that I'm moving every day. Low impact. I don't have to be doing heavy weight training. Strength training is really good for you. And you can get that strength training, of course, from free weights, also from body practices like yoga and Pilates. Swimming, of course, gives you some strength training as well. But it's all low impact, gentle. Take your time, enjoy the movement. So that's number two, the low impact every single day. Now, number three may be a little bit unexpected. Number three, a simple way to bring a powerful impact and benefit to your physical self-care over the age of 50 is to go outside. That's right. Step outside. Now, you don't have to go for a long walk or a hike. You don't have to go out into the country or up into the mountains or over to the beach. If you can do that, lucky for you, and go for it. But many of us, if we're in an apartment or a condo or assisted living of some sort, or even in our own homes, maybe it's a bit more challenging. Maybe we're a bit more isolated. Step outside, open your window, onto your balcony, onto your front porch or back porch. Step outside, feel the coolness of the air, take in some deep breaths. Do 3, 4, 5 deep breaths, inhaling for 3, exhaling for 5, inhaling for 3, exhaling for 5. Here's what happens when we step outside. First of all, fresh air is just good for us, okay? We're feeling the benefits of that fresh, especially in the morning. Oh, there's nothing better for me than taking my coffee and stepping outside. And when I'm doing those breaths, that breath work of in for a certain amount and exhaling for a certain amount, I am regulating my heart, my physical and physiological health, and it also is having a mental health benefit for me. Those deep breaths bring in cleansing air, and those long exhales help release some of that older, stale air that's been inside. Stepping outside too, then we're listening. What are we hearing around us? What are we aware of? It's bringing us some connection. So you're noticing, you're aware of the birds, of the traffic, of children, of other people talking, cars, trains in the distance, planes overhead. What that does is it helps us get out of our own heads. If we live alone and we're feeling a little bit isolated, stepping outside can remind us that there is more to this world than our little corner of it. Now, how does that improve our physical health? Anything that improves our mental health and our emotional health is a physical health benefit. Being aware of things other than ourselves, outside of ourselves, gives us a sense of connection. We understand a little bit more our place in this world. And being in nature is a natural place for us to be. So that's number 3, just go outside. And you can do this any time of day. I, as I said earlier, love doing it at the beginning of the day because I find that it just, gives me a fresh start. It's invigorating. And it's a nice transition between the end of my sleep and the beginning of my day. But the same thing can happen at the end of the day. I know people who love to sit on their porch after they've had dinner, have a cup of tea or a drink of water, just sit and watch the world go by. It's a wonderful thing. It gets you away from the television, off of your couch, and out more into this big wide world around us. The fourth surprising and maybe unexpected way that you can improve your physical health every single day is to sleep. Get as good a night's sleep as you can. As we age, sleep is becoming more and more important. It's restorative for our physical health for sure, also our mental and our emotional health. It's rejuvenating. We should be sleeping at least 6, 7, 8 hours optimally a night. Now, if you're like me, you maybe wake up in the middle of the night and hoping that it's 6 a.m. in the morning, and instead it's 2 or 3 o'clock. And then your mind starts shifting and moving, and you catch on a thought, and then your mind is racing, and it's hard to fall back asleep. Some of us also have just a hard time falling asleep at night. So we lie in bed and we're tossing and turning, and we can't get to sleep. And then when we do, we're still up early and somehow trying to function in our day the next day. So being able to sleep and sleep well and sleep consistently every night has a tremendous effect on our physical health. We're more alert, less likely to fall, not as clumsy, that's for sure. Our mind stays sharp, and we are better able to reason and to understand and then to walk every day through our lives. Now, that doesn't mean you can't nap. Naps are delicious. And if you're lucky enough to be able to nap every day, then I say go for it. But not at the detriment of a good night's sleep every night. So how can we improve our physical health with sleep? Well, for one thing, have a sleep routine. Have you set up a routine that every night you do, and it helps your body regulate itself so that it knows, I'm brushing my teeth, it's time to bed. Time to get to bed. I'm putting on my pajamas and washing my face. Maybe I have a meditation or gratitude practice. Maybe I journal or I read. These things help me fall asleep at night. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I do what's a breathing practice that I call the sleeping waltz. Now, I've talked about bedtime routines in a previous video, and I encourage you to go back and look at those videos because they really do outline how having some good sleep hygiene can help us sleep more deeply, soundly, and a more healthful way every single night. But the sleep waltz is really simple. You breathe in for 3 and you exhale for 3, and you count to 3 in the inhale and count to 3 as the exhale. It's incredibly relaxing. There's a mindfulness practice to it because when you're counting as you're thinking about breathing, it's really hard to think of other things. It's quiet, it's meditative, and it really helps quiet your mind and keep you in a peaceful state. The wonderful thing about that practice is the more often you do it, the better you get at it. And it's not about achieving something with a practice. The practice is in itself the goal. Just doing it is the goal. But like anything else with muscle memory and just, doing it multiple times, your body gets used to it and now you've regulated yourself to fall back asleep. So that's number 4, get some sleep. And the 5th and final in our 5 ways we can impactfully improve our physical health in some simple and surprising ways is to see your healthcare professionals regularly. Yes, of course, I'm talking about your doctor or nurse practitioner, whoever you go to for your main health and well-being. But I'm also talking about your eye doctor. Are you having regular eye care checkups? Our main healthcare professional can do a wonderful job of attending to our physical health. And we keep up with those appointments to make sure if we're on medication, we're keeping up with the right doses. Or if, like me, you have improved your health in some ways and you've been able to get off medication, there's no need to be on it if we don't need to be. But if you do need to be on it, then the only way you're going to know if you need that benefit is by going to see your healthcare professional. The same is true for your eye doctor. So your eye doctor can see challenges and maybe cataracts or potential eye issues that might be coming up before they become a big issue for you. It's better to have these things checked early than later. It leads to less invasive treatments and procedures, and in some ways we can shift the course of some of these diagnoses. And your dentist, do you make regular dental appointments? Now, our teeth can tell us a lot about our overall health, but they can also affect our physical health. So it's more than just cavities, and it's more than just a good cleaning. Our dentists can find out things like gum disease and issues, with our roots and into our bones and into our jaws and into our overall mouth and oral health. Seeing a dentist regularly is a surprising and unexpected way to achieve physical health, especially as we're aging. Our teeth become brittle. We've had them for a long time, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. It's been maybe for some of us, depending on when we lost our baby teeth. But those teeth need the support of a good dentist. And that dentist can see other things that maybe our doctor wouldn't know to look for in an overall health check. But because our dentist is getting in there, he's looking at our gums and our roots and our tongue, he's looking at our overall jaw and throat health, he can maybe spot some things for us that can help alleviate some procedures down the road. I'd much rather know that I had a cavity early than finding out 2 years have gone by or 3 years since I've been to the dentist and now I need a root canal. If you're fortunate enough to be able to see a dentist and an eye doctor in addition to your medical health professional, then I highly encourage it. It's unexpected. We don't always think about how these things can affect our physical health. But certainly with eye doctors, we want to make sure that we're up on our prescriptions, and we want to know if there's anything else, any other issues potentially that we need to think about with our eye health as we're aging, and that then we could take that to a healthcare professional. So I'm curious to know of the ways, unexpected ways, that you're bringing some self-care to your physical health. Are we able to age optimally? Can we thrive and not just survive in this next chapter of our lives? That's what this channel is all about. Please share any of your practices or tips or tools that you should think would be a benefit for those of us who are on the same path as you are. This channel was created for community and for conversation, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. This is A Balanced Life. I'm Patricia. I'm looking forward to our next conversation, and if you haven't yet, do something kind for yourself today.